The first item on our agenda is the consent agenda, which is a group of items to be acted upon with a single motion and vote. This agenda is designed to expedite the handling of limited routine matters by council. I will ask if a citizen or a council member wishes to have any specific item removed from the consent agenda for discussion, and at that time, either a public or council member may request that it be removed prior to the council's vote. So the items on this evening's consent agenda are approval of the work session and regular meeting minutes of September the 26th, 2017, approval of the expenditure vouchers for October 10th, 2017, approval of a special events permit for the Montezuma Land Conservancy. They want to hold a very scary time trail bike race in your natural area. Approval of a special events permit for the Cortez Area Chamber of Commerce. This has been, would be business after hours at Coca-Cola Bike and Board. So is there anything on the consent agenda that either the public or a council member would like to remove? All right, in that case, may I have a motion?
Honorable Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. The addition of $30,690.58.
Second.
Archibald?
Aye.
Carlson?
Aye.
Keel?
Aye.
Lucero?
Aye.
McLaughlin?
Aye.
Chief?
Aye. We have no presentations this evening. At this time, is there a citizen in the audience that would like to address council? Hi, if you would please state your name and address.
I'm Carol Heedy. I live at Elmer Road at 314 South Valley Road, Cortez.
Okay.
I have come to let you know that Baha'is in Cortez minus Montezuma County, should I leave this one?
Whichever one's most comfortable for you.
Montezuma County and Anna will be joining others around the world October 22nd in observing the 200th anniversary of the birth of Baha'u'llah, prophet founder of the Baha'i faith. There will be observances in large cities, small cities, towns, villages, all around the world. Some will be quite elaborate. I've seen on internet preparations in some places have been going on for months. Ours will be much simpler. It'll be right in here. And it will be a simple, but we hope very effective, beautiful event. In addition to getting together at 3 that Sunday afternoon for a celebration, we are giving gifts to the community. Members are giving 200 items to the bridge, to a soup kitchen, handcrafted lanyards to the entire staff of the Dolores schools. Someone who used to own a guest ranch will be helping with 3 meals a month for a youth group at a church in Mancos, and a teacher who works with children and junior youth is encouraging them to practice virtues as a gift to themselves, their family, their community, and to the world. Virtues such as kindness, respect, caring, helpfulness, courage. Any virtues, like perseverance is another one that Manaw is particularly focused on. Integrity is another that's right above the door at Manaw. We're encouraging and helping these children to understand these virtues. This is in alignment with Baha'u'llah's statement, the betterment of the world can be accomplished through pure and goodly deeds, through commendable and seemly conduct. If you wish to come, we'd be very happy for you to come on October 22nd at 3 to join us. If not, or even if you do come, we invite you to imagine with us a world in which these principles are practiced widely. We are all one human family. Religions, world religions are all from one God. Prejudice of all forms must end. Women and men are equal. Justice and equity are the foundations for peace. Science and religion are in harmony. These are basic teachings that we are helping to share throughout the world. If you don't mind, I'll give each of you an invitation and a brochure that tells more about this event. Not necessarily about this event, but about the birthday.
Thank you.
You can tell who was my co-teacher and who was my student.
Yeah, that's right. Some things are hard to change, aren't they?
But you know what? Most of my students that I see around town call me Carol now, so you've made two different.
Thanks.
It's interesting. I see the first time most people say that, they look a little bit apprehensive. And then when I smile and say hi, they know it's okay.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Carol, you'd like to have one for Tim, Councilmember Tim, I'll be happy to get it in his, Mr. Miller, I'll be happy to put it in his mailbox.
Okay.
Okay?
And you were a mother of a student, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So was Courtney. Yep.
Thank you.
That's all right, Mom.
Well, thank you very much, Carol.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, public hearings, ordinance number 1231, series 2017. Kathy?
Good evening. This ordinance basically covers, there was a little confusion, I think, from what I read last time coming out of the media, but this ordinance basically is for those vendors who are outside of our area. They don't have a nexus or a place of business here. Most of the local people file local sales tax. They know what our definitions are. They know what a horseplow is. They know what gasoline is, what it covers. But statewide, we have a whole bunch. In fact, 10% of our sales tax revenues comes from these out-of-town vendors. And they're not only dealing with Colorado, but there's one or two other municipalities that have home rule municipalities, which means we set our own definitions, our own rates. We govern where our sales tax is at. And they find it very cumbersome to come into this state and sell things. And a lot of these are internet sales, or people who sell from outside of the area through the mail into here. And so the state challenged the Colorado Municipal League to gather a group of people consisting of finance directors, other business people, people who deal with this, to come up with one set of definitions for the whole state of Colorado and each home rule municipality to adapt so that they don't have so much trouble filing taxes within this. I myself went through, and it was funny how many, when we went through the process, how even groceries was a different definition for everybody. And so what they're trying to do is uniformly put these so that these vendors don't have such a hard time filing taxes, and perhaps entice more of these vendors to start filing local tax. We don't have any control over people who don't have a nexus or a place of business. So they do it more or less because they're good business people, good in that sense. And so we're hoping that this will attract a few more. If not, we can always have people drop out too, which we once in a while, I'm surprised, we get probably 2 or 3 times a week, either a phone call or an email from someone asking us what our tax rate is, what our definitions are. And so, and these are normally from people, like I say, outside of our area. And that's the whole basis for this, is to adopt one set of definitions for everybody, so they're all taxed according to the same definition. I did go through ours. By adopting this, it won't change any of our revenues or anything. It just more concisely put them in touch with everybody else. That's convention.
Okay.
Got me confused.
Does council have any questions?
I don't have any. No, sounds like it streamlines it well.
Yeah.
Yes,
It was
does.
amazing to me that they felt the need to define all those things, but
Well, no, it's more, Your Honor, it's just that because Colorado has, I think, 101 home rule municipalities, I don't know that all 101 of us self-collect, but I think the vast majority do. So if you have an out-of-state vendor doing business in all these home rule municipalities, you may be dealing with 100 different definitions for the same thing. So this just gives us the whole state, even though we all self-collect, we're all agreeing to have the same definitions. And so the vendors, when they report, even though they may have different tax structures, at least this takes away that kind of confounding bit of what's a grocery and what's a farm unit or whatever.
okay. All right, at this time, I'm going to open it up for public hearing, and if there's anybody that would like to speak for or against approval of this, now's your chance.
Excuse me.
All right, seeing no one, I'm closing the public hearing, and if there are no other questions or comments from council, may I have a motion, please?
Honorable Mayor, I make a motion to approve on final reading ordinance number 1231, series 2017, repealing and replacing chapter 9, article 2, section 9-7 of the city of Cortez regarding sales and use tax. Second.
Lucero.
Aye.
McLaughlin. Aye. Carlson.
Aye.
Keel.
Aye.
Archbeck.
Aye.
Aye. We have no unfinished business, so we're going to move to new business. Street light, what?
I was just saying thanks to Kathy.
Oh, okay. Street light installation on Andrew Lane and 13th Street. Oh, just a minute. Orly has to recuse himself.
Oh, this is. Yeah, I think you're front separated from it, it's not.
Is that the one you plug into to charge your phone?
Yeah, it's a good question to ask.
Okay.
It's a good question to ask.
All right, Phil.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. We had a streetlight request from residents on Andrew Lane and 13th Street. They were complaining about the lack of street lighting and how dark it is down there, and the nearest lights are actually on Chestnut. Over half of the residents in this area signed a petition to request these lights through Public Works. We met on site with Empire Electric and went over the various locations or potential locations the residents wanted, and did a little revision based on the site conditions and available power. But they are in agreement, and they can provide 400-watt high-pressure sodium streetlights in this location. Generally, what happens in these scenarios is that Public Works gets engaged in some way, manner, or form, whether we do some trenching work or provide equipment or labor, or we just provide funding. In this case, due to the proximity of available power and the location of the poles, it's going to be done at no cost to the city. Empire Electric will be absorbing all of the $17,338 to install these 4 lights. We recommend that the council agrees, if you agree with us, that we go ahead and make a motion to instruct Empire Electric to install these 4 streetlights as located on our onsite.
Council, does anybody have a question on this?
No, sounds great.
All right, may I have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to instruct Empire Electric Association to install 4 100-watt high-pressure sodium streetlights on Andrew Lane and 13th Street as requested by the residents in the neighborhoods.
Second?
McLaughlin.
Aye.
Archibald.
Aye.
Carlson.
Aye.
Keel.
Aye.
Sheik.
Aye. Yeah, that was quick. All right, the next item on the agenda is the appointment to the Cortez Historical Preservation Board. Holly Now. Neva?
Good evening. Excuse me. All right.
You need a mirror?
All right, I'm ready now.
Okay.
I'm a staff member to the City of Cortez Historical Preservation Board. I am here to ask council to appoint Holly Tatnall to the Cortez Historical Preservation Board. Dale Davidson was a longtime representative of the board from the Cultural Center. He has resigned, and the Cultural Center Board has nominated Holly Tatnall to take his place. She's already serving on the library board. She's passed her background check, so she is ready to start her duties on November. The first Wednesday of November, I'm not sure when that is.
And I can personally tell you, I worked with her for many years, and I know she'll do a good job. She's also president of the Cortez Cultural Center as well, and has done lots of really great things since she's been on that board. So I think she'll do a wonderful job for this board as well. Questions, comments? All right, may I have a motion, please?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Holly Tatnall to the City Historic Preservation Board.
Second.
Carlson.
Aye.
Archibald.
Aye.
McLaughlin.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Keel.
Aye.
Sheik.
Aye. All right.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you. Slow down.
you're not leaving, are you? The resolution to approve the high school property, Shane.
I thank Your Honor. When the city updated its Parks and Rec master plan, the concept of developing a park on the south side of the city received a very high priority from the respondents. Additionally, finding a permanent home for the Young American Football League, or YAFL, was additionally identified and prioritized by our residents, as they currently practice on the baseball field. During early discussions regarding the purchase of the site, the concept of partnering with the Housing Authority to develop a portion of this for affordable housing was also prioritized. Staff has been in contact with the school district regarding the city's intention to make an offer on the parcel. Concurrently, staff has been working on a GOCO grant application, which would make this acquisition very affordable for the city. The city has also been in contact with the Housing Authority, and pending their board's approval, would intend to sell 3 acres to the authority at the same cost per acre that the city is offering to the district. The city's offers would have conditions, and those are part of the resolution, but which would include receiving the grant would be a condition. The building being demolished and removed would also be a condition. And you can see more specifically on the resolution. The closing date could be as late as next fall, and that's just because GOCO has a lot of requirements. And so if we did receive the grant, there's things that have to happen 60 days before closing, 90 days before closing. So they've been acquiring properties for many years, and I think that they have conditions that ensure that nothing can ever go wrong again. Although part of that is because it may take 20 years to close. So, anyway, I kid the GOCO people. I hope we get the grant. So anyway, we're recommending that you move to authorize the mayor to sign Resolution 23, Series 2017.
All right, council, questions,
I do have a question.
comments, yes.
Do you know, what the time frame is for the continued demolition? Because it seems like they keep,
Right, and so this is what I got. I just spoke to Jamie Hawkins today. He's at facilities, is in addition to being a principal. And the contractor was back at work this week. They had just a holdup with the state. They had the whole friable asbestos issue and whether or not their material was in fact friable. They heard from CDPHE, I think within the last 3 to 4 weeks, that their final determination was it's friable, deal with it. So I believe that they're back underway now. And I believe that their plan is to be completely out of there by spring of 2018. But again, this would be, our absolute recommendation is that the building is completely removed, including the foundation, and all the utilities are capped back at the property line. So we want the site to be ready to go. And we're also working, I didn't put it in here because it's not a financial consideration for council, but you may recall when we purchased the industrial park, that we went through a targeted brownfields assessment, and that's a program that the state of Colorado has that basically where we received a phase 1 and phase 2 environmental assessment for at no cost. We're gonna apply for that again, so that I think that would save us about $25,000. But we would also have, before we close, Councilwoman, an absolute circular protection as well. I wouldn't think that we'd close until we knew that this property had no environmental concerns for the city.
And the cost of the phase 1, phase 2 falls back on the buyer.
No, it would fall on CDPHE. So they do it when local governments are involved. This program is really for redevelopment of properties. Having a government involved really helps out. And so it's a program we can avail ourselves to. And again, it saves our taxpayers. Depending on if you just do a phase 1 could be as little as 10,000. But when you trigger that phase 2, that can go way up. And we've already been in contact with them. I believe our program is eligible. And so we're just looking at the timing because, and I don't know that we have an answer for that because we don't necessarily want to have that phase 1 assessment done before the high school is gone. But depending on the CDPHE's requirements on where that building site needs to go, it may not matter.
Right, or correlation between that and the GOCO grant's outcome on if they want to grant us that money as well.
Right, and so all that timing, it all puts us closing after that building is gone.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I think I drove by there today, and I think they were supposed to actually start actively tomorrow. There are signs in the building for the
Okay.
demolition.
Yeah, I talked to, like I said, I talked to Jamie this morning, and I thought he said the contractor was back, and it may be actively going tomorrow, but I understood that they were
Yeah,
basically.
I think it said they've got some signs posted, so.
Okay.
Anything?
when we talked about 345 or is it 354? Do you remember when we talked about it before?
It's 354.
354, okay.
And could you remind me real quick, how many acres is that total?
14 acres.
14.
And so if, again, the Housing Authority Board has not voted on this yet, I believe that it'll be presented to them in October. And so maybe October 16th board meeting or something like that. But it would be, the city would, is proposing that we would sell them 3 acres of that 14 at the same cost that we're purchasing it for. And then we would retain 11 acres for a park.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I have nothing further.
All right, anybody else?
I have many questions. I haven't heard any noise down there yet, so
Okay,
I'll probably be hearing some more noise here shortly.
okay. Well,
Listen, the more noise, the better, the faster we get it done. Gosh, this is the project that.
Oh, you mean at the
that
high
never
school, I
ends.
see. I was like,
Yeah, he's not talking about the other end of the desk here. All right, may I have a resolution, please?
Make a motion approving resolution number 23, series 2017, approving the purchase of the old high school property contingent upon the award of the GOCO grant.
Second.
Archibald,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
McLaughlin. Carlson.
Aye.
Sheep.
Aye. Resolution 24, Series 2017, the Gateway property.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. We're purchasing everything this
Yes, we are.
The city has earnestly been attempting to secure property for the placement of a gateway sign since 2014. Basically, right after the Heart and Soul process, the city started budgeting for that. And heretofore, we really haven't had any success with the property owners. The Teasel family's willingness to sell a portion of their lot is really welcomed for us. Staff has been in discussion with Bill Teasel for a majority of this year. We have had some back and forth on the terms, but we're able to agree to the final terms at the end of June. Following kind of that agreement, we started our minor subdivision process, which was just recently completed. The terms of the purchase price are $1.50 per square foot, which would be $10,204.50 for 6,803 square feet. We also have some obligations, which are one, to construct a gateway sign. I believe that our contractor is set to get started next week. Is that right, Phil?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, next week, so that contract is already underway. We are also obligated to landscape around the sign. We will do all that landscaping in-house. Phil and his guys are working on making sure that we actually have irrigation on site, so anything we put in, we could drip irrigate and not have to worry about staff. I believe that we will be able to landscape it this year, but it'll just be on timing of when our contractor is done and whether our staff has time to put it in this spring this fall or next spring. But one way or another, it will be nicely landscaped, or the mayor will have my head. The final thing is we agreed to build a sidewalk on Lot A, and that will not happen until next year just because we're totally out of the season for that. It's too late to add it to our concrete cost share. So that's basically our obligations, and I think that they're pretty straightforward. So staff is recommending that you authorize the mayor to sign Resolution 24, Series 2017.
Questions, council? Okay, I have a motion. This has been how many years in the making?
We're about 3 years in.
Okay, a motion, please.
I move to approve a resolution number 24, Series 2017, approving the offer of purchase property from Bill Teasel for a new gateway sign.
Second.
McLaughlin.
Aye.
Archibald.
Aye.
Hill.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Carlson.
Aye.
Sheep. Aye. All right, thanks. Ordinance 1232, Series 2017, the Public Art Advisory Committee. Eric.
Hi.
Good night, Phil, thanks.
It's kind of lonely up here now. Council, you have before you an ordinance for creating the Public Art Advisory Committee for the City of Cortez. The ordinance is based on our draft of ideas that we presented to you at workshop on August 8th. A lot of that work was based on researching what other municipalities have done with their art committees, but we also feel that we've kind of tailored this to the City of Cortez. We feel that the formation of the committee has the ability to be receptive to artists, businesses, business owners, and other citizens of Cortez. We think this represents a strong starting point for the Public Arts Advisory Committee, and will really lay the groundwork for moving this committee forward. So, any questions or concerns?
None. Looks great.
When this committee's put together and everything, when they design something or art something, does council still have the final approval on it?
Yeah, absolutely. And
I
so,
read that in here, but I couldn't find it now.
and so they're an advisory committee, as are every committee that is in city council, are really all in advisory capacity. So they're the same. We have library advisory, parks and rec advisory, golf advisory. So it's in the same ilk. I will tell you, when we go through the budget for the library, this year we had under grants and special projects, because Chris used to administrate the murals program, and so there was a $15,000 line item in grants and special projects. Now that $15,000 is transferred to the library since Eric is staffing it. And so the budget amount has stayed the same because really this committee hasn't started working yet. But yeah, I think that they're in an advisory capacity, as is everybody. But I think also too, you know, when we get a nice makeup of the arts community, and if they're going through the process and, you know, making sound recommendations, I would think that, you know, council would take their sound advice like you do every other one, but the council always has the final say.
Yeah, good, because I didn't want to pick the
Well,
art.
well, you just, yeah, I think you're just trying to avoid like having like a sculpture in the middle of the highway that doesn't make any sense.
Pancho Villa or something.
You're right.
That'll work for me.
Well, I was glad to see that we have, that the board will be made up of some people from out of the city, county, and we also have made arrangements to have one of those be a young person.
That's right. So we did, we followed the same format we have with every other committee, which is ever since Heart and Soul, we've had one youth voting commissioner. So we've structured it that way. I think we have some great high school artists. You know, we have a hallway full of them. And we actually may find more interest in that than we have on other youth committees. So, yeah, young people have a voice, and they will have a voice on this committee as well.
So as soon as this is approved, then will the high school teachers be contacted to?
I've actually already talked to the high school art teachers to kind of give them a heads up about this possibility, and I kind of, you know, wanted to get them brainstorming about some members that might be, or some students that could be interested as
Great,
members. So,
great.
yeah.
Okay. All right, are there any other questions or comments, council?
I have none.
May I have a motion, please?
Honorable Mayor, I make a motion to approve on first reading ordinance number 1232, series 2017, creating a public art advisory committee for the city of Cortez, Colorado, and set for public hearing on October 24th, 2017.
Second.
Keel.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
McLaughlin. Carlson. Archbeck.
Aye.
Sheep.
Aye. Draft resolutions and ordinance, there are none. There are no other items of business, and so at this time, there is a citizen that would like to speak before council. This is your last chance for the evening. No city attorney's report?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Manager?
Yes, Your Honor, just two things. One is I'm happy to announce that we've received, as of today, 2 resumes from a potential best and brightest intern, two CU students. So the deadline is this Friday, but already I'm 2, looks like really sharp kids that want to come to Cortez to work for a couple years.
Could you repeat that? Resumes for what?
For the best and brightest internship, that DOLA program. So, yeah, so based on those 2 applications, at least we'll have at least 2 people to interview, which I'm excited about. And then the second thing is, I mentioned to a couple of you at the workshop, I will not be at the next city council meeting. I'm attending the ICMA conference in San Antonio, Texas. And so the workshop is just going to be your donation budget, because that's the all council, and I'm not needed, and we'll try to keep the evening light so nobody comes and yells at you when I'm in Texas doing the 2-step. So, and
Shane said.
right. Oh, and then also on October 19th, City of Ghosts will be playing us a movie at KSJD. So, because you were here tonight, I knew that.
City of Ghosts?
That's the first time he's been there.
It's on, I can't remember, the topic is,
It is about citizen journalists who are been actively fighting ISIS or actively getting its. I will tell you, it's not an easy watch. It's an intense film, but it's a really important film. You know, and I think in seeing what ISIS is doing in their home country and how the unfortunate events have played out, and these journalists who are really risking everything to show to the world what's happening there.
In so many things, you know, all these films are so important and so gravity, but it's always so deep. I just feel like maybe in November we show Caddyshack or something to just kind of lighten the mood a little bit.
well, they're doing a classic one too, and that's lighter fare, so. Has the library purchased this?
We do have it purchased, yeah.
Oh, good,
So
good.
it'll be available for checkout after the film,
Great.
after we show it. So.
Okay. All right, is that it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. City Council Committee reports.
Golf Advisory Board met September 27, 2017. Some of the highlights that I'll touch on. There was a kind of a wrap-up of the ending of the season and some of the events coming up. A blind draw golf tournament. It's going to be held on October 7th. CWGA Club Championship is going to be on the 11th of October. And Par 3 Challenge will be on the 21st. We had two of our high school golfers finish really well, the state tournament. Christopher Radowski, Micah's son, finished 4th overall, and sophomore by the name of Blake Keach finished 14th, I believe. 19th. And so really proud of those guys for having a good golf tournament. And, wasn't an easy one, pretty bitterly cold for those guys, but those are great finishes at the state meet. That on that particular day, it happened to be Russ Grover's last day, so he was there just kind of filling us out on what was going on with the greens, verification process. Wished us all well, and I guess he's off to Kansas. Wayne was also there, talking about how his evolving role on what's going to happen between now and the time he actually retires. But luckily, he'll still be around when whenever we finally get someone to fill that position, to kind of help him along the way. So that'll be really beneficial to have Wayne there and his knowledge of the golf course until that happens. Yeah, that's kind of the highlights. I'm not sure that we have a lot of other stuff to talk about. We did raise some money that we were able to split between the boys and the girls golf team, which is really nice. I think it averaged out to be about $500 each from a recent tournament.
Wasn't it
It's
500?
500
Yeah,
total.
yes, 505 total.
Excuse me,
So it
I'm
was
over anxious on.
250, 250 per team.
250 per team, and that's still nothing to sneeze at. That's good money for these programs, for kids who might have a little hard time kind of paying their dues to get places, so that hopefully that'll help them out.
Right, and I think that money specifically was going, because the school pays for the gas and the hotel, but I think that goes to the mills.
Sure.
Some of the families kind of struggle, when you go on road trips, it's all
It's
restaurants.
expensive,
Yeah, so-
but some of these trips are a good 4 or 5 days long, because they make kind of a rotation and run a
Right.
circuit.
That's right. So anyway, we did pass on council's concerns that it not be going to transportation costs or something, and they said, no, it'll all go to mills for the players, and it'd
Sure.
really help out.
That's about it.
Okay. Any other committees? All right. The workshop this evening, we have begun the budget process. And we spent the evening talking about Public Works budget, which consists of streets and the water treatment plant, and refuse, and the IT department, and Phil gave us an overview of what he needs to keep that apartment running for next year. And then Sam Puffer did a really good job of updating us on the needs for planning and building department. So we've got those two, at least the initial discussion of those two budgets out of the way. I got a letter from Dr. Heil for City Council thanking us for honoring him at the third Thursday event in September for his healthcare and community service. I feel blessed by the proclamation and the attendance of so many people. Their prayers and best wishes for his retirement were deeply appreciated. I look forward to living and serving in this wonderful community during my retirement years. He is having a retirement party at his place on the 12th. If you didn't have a chance to
He doesn't mind us crashing it.
wish him best wishes, or if you just want cake. And then his final office hours will be on October the 31st, Halloween. So, anyway, a good man who's done a lot for this community. I think that's it. Is there anybody else have anything for the get it?
It's all good, let's go home.
All right.